fight fans, welcome to another great episode of Headicks and Hayakers. I am your boy Bodkins. Of course, with me is my brother from another mother, Wit. What is good, my man? And we have another action-packed show. We got to start with well, actually, we need to start a little bit with back to UFC 303 again. Ariel Helwani has now reported that within the last 2 days that this whole Conor Chandler card is back up in limbo. It seemed like when we last spoke last Wednesday, everything was going to be A-okay. But here we are 7 days later, and they're saying, shit, maybe it's not okay. It seems like Chandler is some sort of he's banged up, or not Chandler, but McGregor is banged up and hurt. Who knows? But the UFC is sending out feelers, maybe backup plans, a backup fighter. But there is no backup fighter to Conor McGregor.
Bro, you said a mouthful, but at the same time, you said very little. The idea is, who can you get to replace Conor? Nobody. The anticipation. The
only person I could maybe think of, and he's not on a Conor level, is Nate Diaz.
And the idea is someone exciting enough to bring the eyes to the table would be someone like Nate Diaz. You know, if all of a sudden you said, well, Conor McGregor can't fight, but somehow, some way, we got like maybe a meaningless heavyweight fight in there or something like that. I don't know.
There's not. That's the thing. Is like you got and there's not in the way this card is built. There's no titles. There's no nothing. You know what I mean? Like it's. I think Nate Diaz is. You know what I mean? They headlined Diaz. It's supposed to be Diaz and Chimaev, and they did. You know that didn't work out. What was that, last year or so? It ended up being Diaz and Tony Ferguson.
Right.
The only other person that's the only other name I can think of that has that star power where you could do Diaz and Chandler.
Right. And the thing is, you know, with the UFC, it has a tendency to build up fighters that may or may not be on a main card, main event level. What would be more exciting or as exciting as possibly seeing Conor McGregor? Almost nothing. But then when you throw in, I don't know, maybe we would have. Okay, I would have been excited to see Jamal Hill if he would have beat Alex Pereira, right? That would have been exciting.
But then he's the title. You're not putting the title on a Conor card. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. The way this card is built. Now, if you want to look at it and say, hey, well, Chandler, you're going to have to sit out. You know what I mean? Like, who is there a title? Who are the title holders that you can throw a fight in? And this fight is happening in today is June 12th in 2 weeks. This Saturday makes 2 weeks. That's 14, 15, 16 days. You're right. Looking at if they come out tomorrow and say, hey, but they got 2 weeks to try to figure this, you mentioned the only other people that haven't, I guess, like I'm looking at the title holders, I don't think that Sugar and Marab are going to fight in 2 weeks' time. Like that just is almost impossible now. You know what I mean? Like, and they want to, it seems like they were trying to hold that for the Sphere. Ilya's not going to fight Max Holloway in 2 weeks' time. Like that, you know what I mean?
If it wasn't a title fight, what would be?
Well, I'm asking you what title? The title of a title fight that could happen in 2 weeks' time would be Iri Prochazka and Alex Pereira. That's to me. That's it.
Yeah, because pretty much everybody else has been involved within the last month.
Close the last few months. I mean, I know they both fought at UFC 300, but you feel like you could make that fight. But the question is, could they both cut down in 2 weeks' time to 205? I think both of them possibly could be close.
You know who would love to fight just because of course they never get any love? it'd be Bilal Muhammad. We'd be like, hey, Bilal.
Well, I mean, Bilal's fighting it next month. He's fighting.
Yeah, I know, but if he didn't have a fight, because we skip over Bilal Muhammad so much in the world of UFC rankings and fights. If Bilal Muhammad didn't have a fight, come on, Bilal.
He's fighting for the title next month in July.
Yeah, and we're excited to see somebody like Bilal. But like, let's say there was no title involved. Who are two guys that you could put into the ring? Two journeymen. There's not a guy you can headline a pay-per-view with that his name is not Conor McGregor or Nate Diaz. For a title. I mean, for a pay-per-view. Sorry, for a pay-per-view. Yeah, for a pay-per-view.
There's not two guys people are gonna fucking pay $80 for, Whit. That are like, and this card's not that good. It's not that deep of a card.
No, it's really not. I mean, it's
Nate Diaz and Conor. Those are your two guys. Maybe Anderson Silva, but I mean, Silva's past his prime. So I mean,
we get the old Spider in the building.
John Jones, but he's got a title and he's not fighting anytime soon.
I mean, that's what I was thinking. If you go, hey John, you want to fight Jalton Almeida just for the hell of it?
No. He's not taking that fight. He's not taking that fight.
Who else you get? Yeah, let's get Derek Lewis back in there for no reason after a loss. Let's get him in.
Derek Lewis just won. He just won. Lewis won.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. After not a loss, after a tough win, after a big knockout win. Let's get Derek Lewis in there for no reason. Like, take some more money. You didn't take any damage. Come on and fight Marcin Tybura. Let's do something.
I don't think I just don't think there's a fight out there. They got to figure this out, or they're gonna have to put a title on the card. And this is the thing of it is, this is International Fight Week. This is their big, you know what I mean? Like this year they look at UFC 300, International Fight Week, and the Sphere and MSG are kind of your four big cards. Now, typically International Fight Week is always the biggest fight card of the year, but because we had UFC 300, that changes it.
I mean, yeah, what's
up, Rob?
What's up, Rob? The idea, of International Fight Week is more like, especially when it's in Vegas, that's when the lights are somewhat brighter.
Yeah,
like we were so front loaded with UFC 300, like
they hitched their wagon to a guy who hasn't fought in 2 years and is coming off a broken leg and has been roided up and coked up and
partying,
there's no one but Nate and Conor that passed that test. Yeah, I agree, Rob. There's nobody that they can put on the on there that can headline a pay-per-view without a title, unless it's Nate Diaz or Conor McGregor. They've only really they did it for Colby and Jorge Masvidal last year in March, I think it was. And that fight was, or maybe that was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, I think it was,
yeah.
Kobe,
I mean, nonetheless, like, it's been a while, so they don't do it very often, and it's usually for a huge guy. And Jorge doesn't have the, you know what I mean, the name anymore. He's had too many losses. Poor Mike Chandler. You just gotta hope and pray that Conor can be healthy. The thing of it is, UFC hasn't said anything.
Yeah, and as we see down there in the comments, if you throw it up,
Max Holloway. I mean, but is he fighting Mike Chandler? No, Rob. I mean, who's he going to fight? You know what I'm saying? Like, Max has got to fight. He's got a title shot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
that's all Mike. That's all Max has right now. If it's really not for the title, there's really damn near no reason to put him in the ring. And I can honestly say that I would love to see, Max at maybe at lightweight.
Well, I mean, who you gonna? Yeah, he wouldn't have to cut down to 145. I mean, he's gonna fight Ilya eventually. I think that's a fight to make sometime this year,
right.
The back end of this year, unless he puts the BMF title on. But then who are you gonna do? You ain't gonna. Mike Chandler's not getting down to 155. He's already said that right now. He can't. Like, he's too close.
He's too.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen him, but he's real beefy.
Yeah, Mike Chandler. Mike Chandler's like one of one of those pug pit bulls. You know what I'm saying? Like he gets big and stocky, but it's just really compact. It's in a compact package.
So he's not getting down to 155, and there's no way Max Holloway's going up to 170. Like, that's just crazy. He probably walks around 170, but he ain't fighting freaking Mike Chandler at 170.
Definitely not. Yeah, definitely walks around at 170. I got a chance to see a TikTok video of Max skateboarding in Hawaii, and he
says big. Max Chandler. I just don't like it, Rob. And I just don't think Max. That's just way too big if they're going to fight at 170. It'd be different if Chandler said, "Yeah, I can get down to 155," but he's already said it's too late in the game for him right now to get down to 155. He's already been training to fight at 170, and I heard him in an interview say he's like, "I can't get down to 155," and like right now, like he has to take a strict diet and things like that. We're talking 2 weeks away, 16, roughly 14 days away.
Yeah, man, that would be murder on
Max would probably do it because Max is that dude. And so I will agree with that, Rob. Like, if they're going to put the BMF title and say it's Max Chandler, I mean, you could almost sell me on that. But if it was at 155, I guarantee I would sign up for it. But at 170, you're asking Max to go up 2 weight classes, and he's not a big guy already. He's pretty lanky,
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, and it's the idea of what your body can take so that you can still have a positive output. Either a cut or even a weight gain at some point in time would probably have adverse effects on things like, especially in this short period of time, stamina.
Well, Max has even said that before when he fought DP at, when he fought DP for the interim title, and said that they called him Muffin Max because he looked like a muffin, had a big old muffin top because he didn't put the weight on properly. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's the whole point. Like I could sit around for 10, 12 days and put on 10 pounds, but is it going to help me fight in the UFC? Probably not.
Rob says catch weight at 165. I just don't. The way the UFC does business, Rob, I don't see that happening. Dana says himself he hates catch weights. So I don't foresee that happening. Right. Just due to the fact that the way they've talked. But I mean, at this point in time, like, you might have to hit that. It's like that meme where he's sweating and he's got to hit the red panic button. Right. I feel like that's Dana, and he might have to break glass in case of emergency, and that fight kind of makes a little sense to me. I think Max could sell that fight.
Of course, it would be very, I don't know, advantageous if you bring somebody exciting from another promotion. Like,
they're not doing that. He's smoking crack. They ain't doing that.
Hey, look, they're not doing it, but
they're not doing that at all.
You got what are you going to
do? Dana would have to be murdered, and over his last. He wouldn't do that if they said, Dana, take your last breath or bring this fighter in from another promotion. He said, just go ahead and take me out back and put 2 in me.
Just let me have it, right? Hey, it just like you said, there has to be something in case of who can we get, and right now the list is slim. Rob, shout out to Rob for putting several answers in there. He said Max and Chandler. He said Max and Chandler at a catchweight. He said Nate Diaz. Like,
I think Diaz, but I guess I forgot Diaz is fighting soon. He's
fighting Max, right? I mean Nate.
No, Jorge
in a boxing match. Shout out to them.
You don't think if UFC came with a buttload of money though, he wouldn't do that? I think so.
I think so. Yeah, but in their minds, especially if they're heading up the promotion, they probably get thinking that they're getting a bigger bag with the boxing right now.
Yeah.
Which is why, hey man, when I see you and your crew, I'm gonna get one of my guys to swing at your guy, and then let's go ahead and chop it up, man.
I mean, Rob, I'm not going to disagree with you, but he's still Conor McGregor. He's still the biggest fighter. He's still the biggest known fighter.
Biggest draw. If it's not Conor McGregor, it's not John Jones, then who?
Yeah. Yeah.
then
If you took a poll on who a fighter was, everybody kind of know. You know what I mean? They would know who Conor is. I feel like. But yeah, it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Whit, I want to get your opinion on what happened, the events that happened in Louisville last Saturday. In the fourth round, Jared Cannonier. It's a close fight. Jared Cannonier's close to winning. It's some had it 3-1, some had it 2-2. Imanov's winning there. It's probably 2-2 going into the fifth. Most judges had it 2-1 and going into the fourth, and the early stoppage robs Cannonier of maybe of a win or even just continuing the fight. And Herzog is one of the better refs out there. Right. But your thoughts on the stoppage? I did think it was a premature stoppage.
My heart goes out to Jared Cannonier because as someone that's competed for something before, and maybe not been on my best game, I can only imagine how he feels, especially thinking, because you don't go into anything going, I can't do this. You go into there 100% confident. You're in the ring. He was winning that fight. He's got an opportunity. He's mentally knowing he's probably up on the scorecard, and the thing is, and we say it a lot as fight fans. Well, two things are said. Let's say two things, right? One is you want to go out on your shield. You want to do your thing. You want to stop it yourself. You want to go all out. I understand that, but then the second thing that we say, especially in UFC, is the refs are there to save the fighters from themselves.
He wasn't knocked down though. That's the thing is. He wasn't knocked down. He was standing up. He was moving. In the last, actually, before the fight, he threw like a left hook. The last punch of the whole fight, or the second to last punch thrown, was Cannonier throwing a left hook.
Right.
I said, let me ask you this: what's worse, a late stoppage or an early stoppage?
To some degree, an early stoppage to me, when obviously there is more in the tank. There's more to be done. A late stoppage, a late stoppage, depending on what kind of late stoppage, we've seen fighters obviously get 2-3 more strikes on the ground. That's one thing. But then in this case, we see a fighter who obviously could put out, maybe go into a fifth round. If there was, there was a minute and 34 seconds left, or there was three and a half.
Yeah, there only a minute and a half left, or was into the fourth round.
Yeah, so there's 3.5 minutes left of the. Like, could he have made that other 3 and some change? I think so. You know what I'm saying?
If not, let him find out. Let him hit the canvas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and to see it have ended in that fashion for a fighter who, before injury was top 5 at that weight class at middleweight, and had proven himself to be, one of the better pound for pound guys at that weight class. Because remember, Jared Cannonier right now going down.
He beat Sean Strickland. His only loss is to in the top was Izzy and to
Rob is not.
Yeah, Rob. He lost to Rob Whitaker.
Yeah. So I think it was Rob and Izzy, if I'm not mistaken. Like, that has to hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I spent all this time coming back. You know what I'm saying? Because I think one of the big thing is, they were bigging up Vettori. They were bigging up Marvin Vettori to be this next guy, and he ragdolled Marvin Vettori for those rounds. And then of course, what I'm saying, we got to see him against Sean Strickland, who eventually becomes the champion. He proved himself, but just the injury itself took him away from the fight game so long. We wanted to see a resurrection of his skills, and unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to see it, man. And it hurts. It hurts me to see that Jared Cannonier could have went farther in this fight, But
I agree. I think an early stoppage is worse. Rob says late. He thinks a late stoppage is worse. And this is what I'll say to that. I don't like late stoppages, but I'd rather have a late, like Bobby Green, when that late stoppage. That's the one that was too late. But I'll say this: I think if you go in the back when the guy's getting ready in the back, and and you ask him, or he says to you, "Hey, man, I want to go out on my shield," like then you got to let him hit the canvas. You know what I mean? You got to make sure the lights are out, and then once the lights are out, even if it's for a minute or once he hits the canvas, you can call the fight. It was just too early. He was still swinging. You could tell he was just kind of, you know what I mean? Like
the lights were still on. The lights were still on.
Yeah, the lights were still on. He was stunned. I didn't like it. And then you find out, first of all, he's still on a show win model, which is dog shit. And so he misses out on whatever money.
Yeah.
Then you find out, then he says in an interview, like he run to that fight. Going into the fight, he got hurt. And was hospitalized, but he was fine. They had to go through that, and then his wife was expecting. They lost the baby.
So he's been through so much.
Yeah. So you know what I mean. And then this happens. Now it seems like he obviously wants a rematch to run it back. He said he'd go to France and run this back, and maybe hopefully the brass will let the UFC will take him up on that. I think it is a fight that makes sense to me to run back. The middleweight division's a mess. Rob, I disagree that Louisville was the worst card of the year. I don't think it was the worst. Have you watched some of these cards? Look at this Saturday's card, Rob, and tell me that the Louisville card is not better than this Saturday. That Saturday, the Louisville card was better than any freaking card in the Apex, damn near.
Listen, and this is my thought, right? So I had to think about it, and like recency bias just popped up. So the week before, of course, we had Kevin Hollick against Usyk, right? And the stoppage of or the almost stoppage and or tap of being in that armbar. That's a late stoppage. You know what I'm saying? That's going out on your shield.
Well, he didn't tap. That's different because he didn't tap though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You got to break my arm for me to quit. You know,
well, that's on the ref. That's on the ref. You know.
Yeah,
I mean? That's on the guy. Really, he's got to tap. If he ain't tapped, then you go ahead and break it. And then once it's broken,
that's going out on your shield. I'm not going to tap. You got to kill me, okay? I gotta black out in order for you to beat me. Okay? All right? I'm gonna wake up and swing on the first person touching me. That's how some of these fighters want to do, you know. And you and I were texting. We was like, "Yeah, that's broken." Kevin Holland looked back. He looked back again. He said, "Come on, man, I'm about to break this shit. I can break it." Bow, took it out of socket. Fight's over. You know what I'm saying? So there is a point in which early stoppages are hurtful and make fighters, you know, they
I feel like I said, if he says, "Hey, I want to go out on my shield," you say, "Okay," you know what I mean?
But if I'm looking at you in your eyes and your head's like this on the canvas, I gotta stop it.
Different, yeah. Kid, in this situation, Jared never even hit the canvas.
Never even hit the canvas, man. Never even hit the canvas. But
Raul Rojas Jr. had a nice win. As he climbs, makes the climb at 19 years old. Good win for him. So just, it was a decent card. It wasn't the greatest card. I'll admit that, Rob, but it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was the worst card of the year, but that was pretty much the takeaways.
Dominic Reyes, shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out. Yeah, we do got to shout out Dominic Reyes, first win since 2019. So, shout out to Dominic Reyes. With a huge win over Dustin Jacoby in the co-main event.
And I can't lie, the Zachary Reese knockout. I thought that was I was like, wait a minute, I didn't expect that. Julian Marquez was someone that I would have put my money on for that fight. But shout out to Zach Reese too. You know what I'm saying? Big knockout, first round, 20 seconds. Get him out of there, buddy.
Yeah. It took a while. It took a while for the new gloves to kick in, but then we finally got some finishes last Saturday. So, nonetheless, we also got some boxing news real quick. It seems we know the Paul Tyson fight that has been removed, and it's being reported now that Mike Perry could be stepping in. Mike Perry versus Jake Paul. That's a fight I'm actually interested in. I wish it was broken knuckle. and really mess up Jake Paul's face. But nonetheless, it does seem it's not official yet, but it is being that's the rumor that this is going to be happening.
Listen, man, Mike Perry. If anybody watches MMA, is a fan of MMA, you've seen Mike Perry in and out of the UFC. You've seen him as a champion at bare knuckle. Look here, man. I can't imagine him having a training camp where he's prepared to put pads on his hands.
Well, he's fought boxing before. He's done boxing before. Yeah. I can't remember who he's fought boxed, but
yeah,
I was just BKFC, but. At least Mike's got that dog in him. He ain't gonna go out quietly.
Yeah, nah, he's not. All these times where we go, Jake Paul, paid him to get knocked down. Oh, Jake Paul paid him so he can take a punch and blah blah. Oh, Mike Perry ain't gonna do that. No, Mike Perry not gonna do that. Mike Perry gonna go in there and mess around and lose his mind and grab him or something. But I honestly, when we want the spectacle with Jake Paul. It's unfortunate that things that are happening to Mike Tyson are part of him aging. We kind of think of Mike Tyson as almost an immortal figure because of his larger than life persona, what he did back in the 90s or the late 80s and early 90s. But he is an aging man. They said that they're rescheduling it for like November or something crazy. But in the meantime, between time, who wants to make some money with Jake Paul? Mike Perry. I like it. If it's going to go down,
I think Mike Perry could easily win that fight
for sure. Yeah, Mike. Mike Perry.
Paul's taken.
Mike Perry's got a chin, and Mike Perry is also a nutcase in some way, shape, or form. So you got to put him down. You got to put him down like Old Yeller. You want to beat Mike Perry.
Yeah. Whit, you mentioned off air before we we got the return of Tank Davis this Saturday.
Oh yeah, man. Real big news in the world of boxing. We are all excited to see brother Abdul Wahid, aka Gervonta Tank Davis, entering the ring once again this Saturday, June 15th at 8 p.m. on the Zone, fighting Frank Martin. Now, this is one of those ideas where Tank Davis is now 29-0 with 27 knockouts. Frank Martin is 18-0, 12 knockouts. He scored a unanimous decision over Artem Hurturian last July. But of course, we know Tank Davis's last fight was against Ryan Garcia in April of last year. Tank Davis is a towering figure, even in a diminutive body. So, and the money that we are expecting him to make is always on Floyd Mayweather-esque money. But somewhere in here, this is where we have a problem, because when you fight Tank Davis, where do you go from here? You know what I'm saying? When you get to the tops of the boxing allure, let's say, where do you go after that? You know what I mean? Who can you fight next? Would Tank Davis be okay with putting on 10 or 15 pounds? Nah, Tank Davis, and I'm not talking about brother Abdul Wahid. I'm not talking about Tank Davis in a negative light, but Tank Davis is known for saying, "Nah, man, come down and fight me here." Cut some weight. Because if for instance, and all of my fight fans, you can Google it. Look at Ryan Garcia when he fought Tank Davis, and look at Ryan Garcia when he fought Devin Haney. Completely two different people, almost. Maybe a little more drugs involved in the Devin Haney fight. Completely two different people, two different sized men. And that is where Tank Davis, wins in the majority of these fights. In this case, Frank Martin being a man of size and stature where he does not have to cut in or lose power or speed to fight Tank Davis. This is one of the most even matchups that I have seen Tank have in the past 4 years, maybe. His past 4 fights. The other three that I'm thinking about, like, people had to come down to fight Tank. Tank literally puts on weight and loses maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds to be where he needs to be to fight these fights. So I'm excited to see this one. Frank Martin is not a slouch by any means. Frank Martin has had tough competition before he's gotten to this point. But has he had that jaw tested? I don't know. Ain't nothing like it. We don't see very many people come back from Tank Davis body shots. We don't see very many people come back from Tank Davis left hooks. And this is going to be a test for Frank. So, you want that money, you gotta kill a bear, and the bear's name is Abdul Wahid or Javante Davis, so to speak.
Hey, that'll be a good fight Saturday. Before we get up out of here, you got anything else going on Saturday?
Oh yeah, real quick, everybody. Hey, the Ultimate Fighter season is happening right now, and I want everybody to make sure that cold sores. Okay, cold sores, although very comical, ha, you got a cold sore on your lip, are contagious, and they are a form of herpes. Okay, so when the Ultimate Fighter cancels fights for reasons,
this second season in a row, I forgot it happened last season too.
Yes, exactly. When the Ultimate Fighter shows you episodes of fights being canceled for health reasons, health concerns, they're very, that just shows you the lengths that Dana White and the UFC go to steer away from the possibility of something going wrong with fighters. Because hey, you got an open cut, an open sore, two people's blood mix up. Now you've got what he's got. We don't want that to happen. So it's a laughing matter when you talk about it. But at the same time, it isn't funny when you're talking about people's health in the ring. So shout out to the Ultimate Fighter.
Real quick, early thoughts on are you team Grasso or are you team Shevchenko so far?
Right now, it's 1-1. The middleweights for Shevchenko, for Grasso, Alexa Grasso, these fighters I've noticed. I'm like while I'm watching it, like I'm Googling, you know what I'm saying? I got my phone in my hand, I'm Googling Robert Valentin and Yanis Bashir. So Yanis Bashir is a Greek fighter on Shevchenko's team. He is actually a champion in a European version of UFC, one of the biggest European promotions for MMA. And Robert Valentin is the Swiss fighter who lives in Phuket, Thailand, who's been training in Muay Thai, and he is actually was a title contender. He turned down a title fight to come to the turf, the Ultimate Fighter. Like the people, when you never know who the fighters are until you go looking at them. But we have to remember that the Ultimate Fighter has been going on for 28 seasons. I think they have had
32. I thought they said.
Yeah, it's 32 seasons.
So, I mean, the first they obviously they skipped some seasons there for years.
Right.
The first Ultimate Fighter was 2006, 7, maybe 5.
Right, and I'm about to say. Let's see. In my mind, it's at least 11 champions. I could think of at least 5 that come from the Ultimate Fighter, but it's in my mind it's like 11 champions have come from the Ultimate Fighter and gone on to win belts after that. Like this is something that as an MMA fan you got to take a minute to watch and gain some knowledge of who these guys are, because even if they don't make the big show, they go on to do great things in other promotions. And then last but not least, in other boxing rumors, okay, real quick. So everybody has heard Botkins and I talk about the great Turki Al-Sheikh out there in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The United Arab Emirates Sport and Boxing Commission has decided to put up $8.7 billion, if I'm not mistaken, was the round number, the round figure, to purchase several boxing promotions such as Queensberry, Matchbook, and possibly Top Rank to form a unified coalition of boxing to begin to take out the multiple sanctioning bodies in boxing and start to possibly produce tournaments and weight classes. even out divisions, get one pretty much pound for pound ranking for everybody, and kind of do what the Saudis did for golf, for boxing. For one, I think that's exciting. That's big news. Something like that hasn't been done for years. And the money obviously is not an issue. We got these oil barons sitting over there. They love the sport. They love the combat. They love to see it in person. They love to see it live. They spare no expense on the spectacle of boxing and MMA for that matter as well. So to say that there's a possibility that we can start getting some real traction going with this, especially by 2025, I'm all for it. So once again, salam alaikum to Turkey Al Sheikh and all my brothers in Riyadh. If you ever need Bakins and I there, I humbly ask you send us a jet.
So real quick, with Conor McGregor is now posted on his Instagram. He just shared this is an old video. I think the more resistance you train with, the less movement and the more injury. But less resistance you train with, the more movement and the less injury.
What?
Huh? Yeah, it's an old video he reposted it on his Instagram. It says, I think the more resistance you train with, the less movement and the more injury. But less resistance you train with, the more movement and less injury.
So he's training and resisting, so he's injured? Or is he not training with resistance and possibly going to get injured?
I don't know.
It's a quandary. Riddle me this, Batman. Riddle me this. Okay. Training with resistance, but not training with resistance, Batman. Which one would you do? Look, I just found it. So 28 seasons of the Ultimate Fighter.
Okay, 28
fighters have reached the pinnacle of champion and numerous underdogs that came up big. So 11 champions from the Ultimate Fighter already. So yeah, great. Yeah. What my man said. Yeah, exactly. What is Conor saying?
So this is the old video. I think the more resistance you train with, the less movement and injury.
I love your accent.
The less the resistance you train, the more movement and the less injury.
Robert 12.
So band.
In positions that you wouldn't be if everyone was tense. Everyone was trying to win every round. I think the more resistance.
It sounds like a retirement video.
Nah.
And the less resistance you train with, the more movement and the less injury.
So bans itself. Oh, you might be going to a little tougher, but yeah, the impositions that you wouldn't be in if everyone wasn't as tense. So I don't know if he's telling everybody to chill out or what.
Yeah, I don't know, man. For real, bro. Think about it. The best person to have us scratching our heads, wondering if there's going to be a fight, but then at the last minute, there's a press conference in Dublin, in front of the ocean, as a podium. On walks Conor McGregor, and he says 2 words: "Fights on." Bam, we ready to go. Like have us in suspense. It's like wondering if freaking Paul Pierce is going to come out the back for the NBA Finals or something. You know what I'm saying? But once again, Conor McGregor, a consummate professional, one of the best promoters or self-promoters in the game, has us on the edge of our seats watching an Instagram video trying to figure out cryptic messages as if we're putting the Da Vinci Code together to see if he is going to fight or not. Who better?
Yeah, it's great. Well, somebody posted that in this group chat that I'm in, but I went to his actual IG, and I don't see that. But man, who knows? Who knows? Well, we ended the show. We started the show with Connor, and we'll end the show with Connor. What you got going on the rest of the week?
Bro, I'm actually missing the NBA Finals right now. And
I think it's close to halftime or tied at halftime.
Yeah, I'm with it right now. It's looking like 50-51 at halftime. So, of course, after the game 4, which possibly, hopefully, the Celtics will be on up out of there and getting the championship ring, we'll be having another episode of LTS in the Hoop, and then we'll be getting ready for the NBA draft the following week. So, I can't wait for that, man. I'm excited. And thanks for everybody for tuning in to Head Kicks and Haymakers. Although the card coming up this weekend is a little bit trashy, don't forget, guys, we got boxing. Check out Gervonta Davis and Frank Martin, and we'll be back next week to talk about the results for that as well.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. The week after next, we got the big Robert Whitaker versus Hamzat Chimaev card as well. So we'll preview that next Wednesday as well. But nonetheless, we'll be back next Wednesday. I'll be back tomorrow night with the boys on the LTS show, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. This has been another great episode of Head Kicks and Haymakers from my guy Whit. I'm Bodkins. Be a friend. Tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share. Y'all know what to do. I'm going to hit that outro.
Riddle me this.
Shout out our guy Tanner for hooking up everything. So, see ya.
Yeah, bro. Cryptic messages from the other side.